What's up, guys? It's your girl Ray here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome to the lovely family. Hi guys, it's your girl Ray here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome to the lovely family. Since we are back to school, or going back to school, or in the back to school time period, I felt like this would be a better time for me to give freshman college tips. So if you are starting your first year of college, especially if you're living on campus, I know a lot of colleges and universities require for the freshmen for sure to live on campus. So if you're going to be going to college as a first year college student and you're going to be living on campus, here are some tips for you. So the first thing you really do as a freshman when you first move in on campus, especially if you have a roommate, you meet your roommate. So I think that the best way for you to just kind of have that kind of friendly, easygoing college experience. Now, this is a heads up, college is never going to be easy for anybody, but it could be easier the more friendly you are. And if you're friendly to your roommate, you can find out some common interests that you have, so y'all can make your living quarters, because it's such a confined space that you're sharing with somebody that you don't know. If you're friendly with them and find some common ground, set some room rules, then you're at least your living place, your living quarters, where you will be sleeping and laying your head at night. That would become a place of comfort for you, and it'll be easier for you to go back to your dorm room and not necessarily dread having to go back to your dorm room. Now, if you are a person that it was definitely like me, extremely introverted, didn't really have to share with anybody growing up, because I grew up with my older brother and we are almost 8 years apart in age. He's a boy, I'm a girl. We like two different things, or we like a lot of different things, but that age gap as well. We didn't have to share toys because we didn't play with the same toys, and stuff like that. So we each had our own room. We never had to share rooms. The only thing that we really had to share was like a bathroom, and that was not for a long period of time. So when it comes to having a roommate, especially if you haven't had one, or your room assignments, some colleges do offer dorms that have like single rooms that you would pay, I know for my college it was like $500 more or something like that. But I got a single room my first year, and honestly, that was, for me, I feel like that was the best decision, because it just kind of eased me into having like a roommate situation the year after or whatever. But I got to still live. I still had to live in a dorm, in an all-girls dorm. I still had to live on a floor full of girls, and I was the only person on my floor that had a single room. And in my dorm there were only two single rooms. One was my room and the other one was on like the 4th floor, and I was on the 2nd. So it definitely eased me into being a little bit more social. We had community showers, so shower shoes will help you a lot, especially if you have community showers. I think that's it as far as dorms go, though. I brought my fish with me, so you can always take a fish, because you can't have other pets, like bigger pets really. But I had a fish. If you want a hamster, I think you can have a hamster. When you register for classes, keep in mind that you're starting school after coming off of summer break. Be wise. Do not choose an 8 a.m. class because you're not ready for it. If that's the only time that class is offered and can fit you, then go right on ahead because you need the class. But if you know that you are not a morning person and you don't want to do an 8 a.m. class, don't sign up for an 8 a.m. class thinking, well, if I take it at 8 a.m., then I can have like the rest of my day to myself. But keep in mind, you have to wake up and go to this 8 a.m. class each time the class is scheduled, because a lot of professors, I know in my school, especially for 8 a.m. classes, actually took roll because they knew that since it was an 8 a.m. class, people were going to skip. And your attendance is a part of your grade. And if you miss like over a certain amount of classes, you automatically get an F. So be careful when it comes to scheduling your exams, because if you don't want to wake up at 7 to go to your class at 8, and you know you don't want to wake up at 7 and go to your class at 8, don't think that if you register yourself for this 8 o'clock class that you will actually force yourself to get up, because you don't have your parents there. You only have your roommate if you have one, or roommates if you have them. It's solely up to you and your own discipline. And if you know that you're not disciplined enough to wake up and go to your 8 a.m. class, don't register for said 8 a.m. class. You're not going to be able to focus anyway, because you're going to be complaining or internally complaining and dreading the fact that you're actually there at 8 a.m. So if you know you're not a morning person, do not register for the first class in the morning. Just don't. And as far as, while we're on the topics of classes, make sure that whatever class, I lost my train of thought. While we're on the topic of classes, make sure that you're actually studying in these classes. Make sure that you take notes. Make sure that you're paying attention. But overall, make sure you're on time for these classes. A lot of teachers will close their doors and lock them on you if you are not seated 5 minutes before a class starts, because that teaches you responsibility. And you are then held responsible for not being on time for said class. If you're on time for class, you get to beat everybody else there, or all of the latecomers. It'll be easier for you to find a seat if the class is full. And honestly, I just feel like you should just be on time for class. So the teacher gets there early, you can talk to the teacher. If the teacher gets there early, you can talk to the professor, You can talk to your professors and, kind of see where things are going. Read your syllabus for each class. Not all professors follow the syllabus, but I swear, read the syllabus. Your syllabus will be your best friend. If you see something that's in the syllabus that's not being taught in class, or if something is being taught in class that's not in the syllabus, you could easily confront your professor about that, because they can't necessarily quiz you on something that they didn't say that they were going to teach you. Because a lot of professors, especially those that don't really want to be professors anymore, will do stuff like that, because or people that are just evil will find ways to fail students and hold them back just because they are miserable, and they will say in their syllabus that they're going to teach you one thing, but they actually don't cover it at all. Or they start covering something completely different that's not in the syllabus, that's probably not even that closely related to your class or that class that they're supposed to be teaching. And that's how you would get caught up. Don't be afraid to talk to your academic advisors about these things, because this is something that happens a lot. And so that you can protect yourself and your degree and your money / your parents' money / financial aid, which is technically your money because you got to pay it back. Don't waste your time, or don't allow other people, including your professors, to waste your time when it comes to the syllabus and what they're actually teaching in class. But also, the syllabus will have a lot of syllabi that teachers or professors issue out. Will have exam dates. We'll have each exam in there, they'll have the homework schedule in there, they'll have the exam schedule, and then they'll have your final exam and your midterms in there. Those are really helpful for you to put in your planner that you also need, so that when you go through your planner, even if you don't use your planner, and write down every little thing that you need to do, and basically have a daily to-do list, or like a daily homework list or whatever. Even if you don't use your planners for stuff like that, because I know I didn't, I know that it was very helpful for me to even have a planner, so that if I ever questioned when was my next exam for said class, I only wrote down stuff like that. Like in the squares of the calendar, I would write, you know, this week there's no school, or this is a holiday, there's no classes, then on this day I'm gonna have an exam in this class, and then, you know, write stuff down like that. And then like my midterm for these classes are going to be on these days, and then my final exam for these classes are going to be on these days. I mainly did that because I also live in a completely different state than I grew up in, and so I had to schedule, you know, trips home around my finals, and, you know, when was my last final, and then whenever I finished my last final I could leave and then, you know, go back to Texas and then come back before, you know, the next semester starts and everything. But it's very helpful to write those dates. Also, go to the administration office. They usually have a full-on school year calendar where it will have all of the major events that the school will be hosting. It will have like the finals week, midterms week. It will have the scheduling for how they schedule finals and midterms for each classes. It'll also have like football games on there, and, you know, when are the football games, what times, where they're going to be. Are they going to be home games? Are they going to be away games? And if they're away games, where are they going to be? And against who? And that calendar, it's a school calendar, but it's also an academic calendar. It'll also, and it's for the whole school year. And it'll also tell you the very last day of classes for the fall semester, and it'll tell you the first day of classes for the spring semester, and it'll also tell you, give you all of the information you need for like the registration period. So you have your pre-registration, and then you have your regular rate registration, and then you have your late registration, and then at the bottom it should have like all of the late fees that go into or all of the fees that go into like late registration, or room assignments if you're changing rooms, or if you're changing like to a single room or whatever, stuff like that. So get yourself an academic calendar. You can also find those on your school's website. I don't necessarily know where on your school's website, because I didn't go to your school and I didn't really look for the school calendar online. But just because I always went into the administration office and just picked up an actual calendar. It'll also have stuff like homecoming on there, and then like each school for sure on their website has like other smaller events that happen, and they list that on their websites as well, for the school calendar all around. Another tip is to stay organized. Like right now, I can tell you that this video is not that organized. I'm kind of using some stuff as segues, but stay organized. And by that, I mean like, there's one thing I learned in high school that I actually brought with me to college, which was, you know, the 5-star notebooks. And those 5-star notebooks that are like 3 subject and 5 subject notebooks, those notebooks I carried with me religiously. I still have them actually. I think they're in my closet full of school stuff that I no longer use. But those notebooks are everything to me. I only had to really buy 1 or 2 each school year, and even then I didn't necessarily have to keep buying them because I could reuse some of them. But like what I loved most about those is because they were split subjects like that, I could just have, you know, one section be for whatever math I was taking, one section could be for music theory, one section could be for MRT for me, and you know that way I knew all of my notes were with me at all times. One section was for physics, one section was for electrical engineering, all of that. So I always had all of my notes for every class with me at all times because I carried that same notebook daily. Another thing with getting organized is like setting yourself up with a schedule to study. Um, but not just really just setting yourself up with like a monthly schedule. So one thing that, or at least a weekly schedule, one thing that my vocal coach taught me my freshman year was each week for my vocal lesson I had to make a calendar, and in said calendar I had to write down all of my classes on all days, and I went from Sunday through Saturday, and what was I doing on Sunday and at what times, what was I doing on Monday and at what times, when was I studying, when was I practicing for my vocal lesson, when was I practicing my music, and then Tuesday classes, and then everything else, and then like if I had choir at night I had to put that I had choir at night. But not only that, I also had to schedule in my leisure time, and that meant like 20 to like 30 minutes or 30 minutes to an hour of me just taking a nap, or going to the nail shop, or just basically resting, because I don't want to just work all day, every day, and not necessarily take a break. And she made me schedule in leisure time, and that was extremely helpful to me. Now, your schedule does not have to be exactly the same as each week goes on, but make sure that you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your physical being, your mental being, your emotional being. Going off to college, or going to college and being away from your family, it doesn't matter how far you go, it's already an emotional roller coaster, because you're sliding into adulthood and suddenly everything that you were raised with growing up, your morals, your discipline, like anything, it's now you have to actually use it and prove that you're ready. Not necessarily for the world, but you have to at least prove that you're ready to survive on your own so far away. And you're not even really on your own because you're living on campus, but you have to be able to survive away from your family before you just kind of go out on your own. And some people just skip that and go right there out there on their own like I did, but hey, to each his own, right? So another tip that another tip, we're going to go back to classes for a second. And what you really want to do is get ahead and stay ahead. And by get ahead, stay ahead, I mean I know a lot of people don't like to read textbooks. I know I didn't like to read textbooks. I didn't even buy them. So that's how much I hated reading textbooks. But to get ahead and stay ahead, that comes with reading the syllabus. Do your readings that you're supposed to do. Like if it was necessary for me to buy a textbook, especially if like we had to do our work on an outside source, a different website, you were required to have a book code, and it would be a code that's on the inside flap of a book, and it was extremely long, and you would have to type it in. You would have to type in the long code, and then you would basically have to register that code under that class that you're taking for that semester. So you could only use the code once. And once you registered yourself for that, Then you basically had like all of these quizzes for each chapter, and then you had like your tests and everything that you needed to do. So basically, by get ahead and stay ahead, do your readings, do the quizzes, do the tests, do more than what your teacher asks for you. That way you can never fall behind. Because once you fall behind in college, it is extremely hard to catch up and be on track again without like extreme discipline and a lot of late nights or, all-nighters. That word, all-nighters. We all love all-nighters, don't we? I remember I pulled an all-nighter for math. I didn't go to sleep until like 6 a.m. And the next tip is to talk to your professors. Like, don't just meet your professors and be like, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm in your like 7 o'clock class, or whoa, too early. Don't just be like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm in your, 9 o'clock class, your 9 to 10:30 class on Tuesdays. I just wanted to meet you. Don't just do that. Talk to them. Ask them questions. A lot of times, if you hadn't noticed already, whatever you study in class or whatever you learn in class or whatever you read in the textbooks is not always what you're going to be questioned when it comes to the quizzes or the tests, and that's how you fail. A lot of times it's some in-between stuff that nobody cares about. It's that random sentence that you missed because it's only like 4 words long and you just kind of read over it and you didn't actually process that because you felt like that's not important information. Those are the kind of questions that they ask you, that teachers ask you to know if you actually did the reading, and they ask you to know if you're actually understanding what you're learning. Unfortunately, these grades actually affect your GPA though. Like, I feel like if you're going to test me on the stuff that you actually teach me. But, not everybody rolls that way. Anywho, so talk to your professors. A lot of times the tests are what they make. Like, y'all know, a lot of times you can find the whole test and stuff on like Quizlet. Quizlet and flashcards and all that good stuff. But for the tests that teachers actually do make themselves, try to think outside the box. This is when you need to talk to the professor, because they will really tell you what they're looking for one-on-one, because they want you to come talk to them. So if you go talk to your professors, they will tell you 9 times out of 10, they will tell you what it is that they're actually looking for. And if you just have a full-on discussion about the chapter that you're in, you'll find out that in that discussion, the professor, if they actually care about their students and care about their jobs, will actually tell you, basically they will tell you the answers to the quiz or the tests that are coming up, because they're going to ask you a question and then you're going to answer it and they're going to say yes but, or they're going to say that's not necessarily what I'm asking you for, and then they will tell you. So go talk to your professors. Don't be afraid to talk to them, because they are here to help us learn something. Don't know what, but they're here to help us learn something, right? Or at least that's what I was told. A lot of us going into college are between the ages of 16 and 19 years old, going in as a freshman. So, between 16 and 19, we're pretty much, as long as you're under the age of like 35, you're considered young and dumb. Yet, the world seems to think that that is the best time to make life decisions for yourself, and you should know what you want to be when you grow up. By then you should know what you want your career to be in, and a lot of us do, but a lot of us also don't. It is okay to be a general major or to be a non-declared major your first few years of college. Now, by first few, I mean first 2. And if you feel like you're just kind of going to college to see if it's a place for you, or if you feel like you don't necessarily want to go off to a university without knowing what your major is or what you want to do with the rest of your life, go to a community college and then finish all of the required classes that everybody has to take. It doesn't matter what your major is, like oral communications and health, some kind of health class, and like the basic maths and everything. Just go finish those classes or your general ed courses before making such a big decision. You can use that time to figure out what you want to do. Then by the time you actually make a decision and declare a major, you can go off to a university and you can finish your degree without being held behind for not having your general ed courses done. But don't rush to declare a major. A lot of times, I know for sure like 85% of the people that get degrees in something never work in a field of which they got their degree in. So don't worry about, choosing something that you feel is not right for you. Almost everybody chooses something that's not right for them when it comes to picking majors and getting degrees. But as long as you have fun, as long as you do what you feel is best for you, then you will have a great time going to college. You will have struggles, you will have trials and tribulations, but overall you will have a great time. And once you receive your degree, you can feel proud of yourself because you made that decision for you. But don't rush or don't pressure yourself, and don't allow other people to pressure you because you are non-declared at the moment. If you don't know what you want to do right now, then you don't know what you want to do right now. But you can take time to figure that out. College will always be an option to a lot of people. So you also don't have to get your degree right now. So just keep that in mind when it comes to going to college, picking a major, when you're going off to college, when you're moving on to campus, and overall, especially your freshman year, because that kind of sets the pace for the rest of your years of college. Just make sure that as long as you're being responsible and protecting yourself and taking care of everything that you need to take care of, you can also have fun without it being detrimental to your health, to anybody else, and to your degree / the rest of your life. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have more tips, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.